That was showing it very well.
Recording is on.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just finish my thought then. So yeah, what's happening is people are losing even the idea that they need any change. You know, the self-esteem movement in our education system has convinced everybody that, no, you're perfect. Everyone's special. And this cult of individualism and that has left people say, like, you know, to the point of aggression, at a point where people say, what are you saying? I'm not fucking perfect? That you better than me? Look, I'm the person I am, and you fucking better respect that, okay? You know, and say, like, we're all gonna die if you don't transform yourself. But look at that ID poll and where these people are at. You can see people screaming at Jordan Peterson and stuff, and you're saying, I feel for Jordan Peterson and the person screaming at them, because Jordan Peterson doesn't realize he's almost there, but he's kind of a frustrating person stuck on the third chakra, and he can't make it. He's too conservative. You can see basically the porridge is too thick. He's never going to make it, and you can see that all the people that are yelling at him are too entrenched in their identity to even know what he's saying. That it's not about, put your shoulders back, but you can't be that conservative either. You need a revolution in yourself. We need a revolution. Everybody knows we needed a revolution. What people don't see is we need to start with a revolution in ourselves. Everybody in XR, if I had one thing to say to you, anybody listening to XR, I say, fuck the revolution. Start with yourself. The revolution's in yourself. And I'm not talking about be the change you want to see and all these trite platitudes. I mean, fucking get your head, smack it on a brick. I mean, get your alien cortex and lobotomize it. Get it out. Take it out with a fucking fork if you have to. But you need to fucking get that module out of your head, that alien cortex, that me, that identity politics about my future. That needs to go. And people are not realizing now that that's even possible. That's not even a thing. You say, yeah, in the Middle Ages, it was everybody's thing. Everybody knew this in the Middle Ages. It was all about self-denial and stuff. It's like we've got so far off the reservation, I don't think we can get back.
Maybe with a little help from a little virus friend, people will have to be so
but look how it turns out.
Frustration and isolation.
but you see, they're heading towards the Goering thing, right? You see, this is why it's so dangerous. Where the virus is taking us is to a thing of self-annihilation out of spite. So this is why it's so damn dangerous, because the virus is only the first of many horrors to come. And if you look at how badly we're doing this, the wrong lessons learned, and basically people are going to Devil's Island. So to take the Robben Island analogy with Nelson Mandela, all these people, they're going to Devil's Island and they're turning it into a bigger hell. So that's a great possibility that you can go to prison and you can make prisoners. Jordan Peterson said, there's no situation that you can put a human being in where they can't conspire to fuck it up and make it any worse. And that's where we're headed. We're headed for worse and worse and worse. We're on completely the wrong trajectory, because we don't even know people that tell the Nelson Mandela story don't even tell the right fucking story. They tell their own egotistical American civil rights story. Mandela's story told properly is, to the American ear, is saying he started out as Osama bin Laden. He started out as a terrorist, a bomb-throwing militant terrorist, and got to be president. Now, that story is lost. They have it as, he was an innocent black man wrongly accused and put in jail. No! He made the journey from bin Laden to being president of the United States. And that's lost in this liberal twaddle dialogue that you don't have to transform and we can take lessons. What lesson do you take? That we're nasty to black people? That's not the lesson Mandela's telling us. The lesson is saying that you can transform yourself from bin Laden into basically someone that gets the Nobel Peace Prize. And that's what people don't understand. They think they don't have to change. Why do we need to change? The world needs to change to fit around me and my fucking little ego. And that's why we're in trouble. Yeah, we're in prison. The prison's going to get tighter. The regime's going to get worse. And we're turning on each other worse and worse. And XR is exhibit A for the dynamic. It's getting more entrenched in ego, more entrenched in nagging everybody, telling people how they should be, and far less about transformation. There's a lot of talk about transformation and be the change you want to be. But how many people have you seen? You talk to somebody in XR and find out entrenched their ego. They're defending their ego. The last thing they want to do is change. So yeah,
it's just a kind of
shit. Yeah,
it's just a kind of jingoism, I guess. The language they're using, it just sounds good, but it's
the alien cortex is very, very devious. So it's really like an exorcism. Getting rid of it's like an exorcism. So it's kind of, they've got one of the prime beasts that would have been in the Ars Goetia for exorcists in the Inquisition. They would have like said, "Oh fuck, this XR beast these guys have got a bad one, man. I don't know how we're going to get this out of them." But it's like playing chess with demons. It's amazingly tricky and hey, squirrel, and divert people and twist things. And the alien cortex just basically goes like a banshee all the way around, and has at each stage it has tricks that it does, to delay you, to divert you, to twist things around, to every trick in the book to save itself. But the final one is suicide. It kills you, pretending that it's killing itself. It's kind of, if you get to the Goering stage, what you're saying is like, okay, I admit it, checkmate. So now, that's it, checkmate, I admit it, I have to die. So here, give me the gun. And you say like, don't give it the fucking gun, because it's killing you and it. It's gonna win. So it'll basically kill the exorcist and the patient on the saying like, okay, I'm leaving now. Give me the gun. That's my exit. And then it'll use the gun on the exorcist and the patient. And the art of this is to get it just to use it on itself and leave the patient and the exorcist.
Yeah. This is what I'm wondering, whether we just get tricked by the logic of language. In the like in the Goering example you're just using, we say, well, that's it. I'm completely fucked here. But you're mistaking what you mean by I. You still think I is the thought system you've got, the identity, and the identity you've got with the thought system, instead of reinterpreting what you're saying and say, well, I'm fucked. Okay, so that's this is the point of liberation. This is not the point of the end. You're at a fork of the road at that point, but language is sort of your habit of language and the use of I and what that means to you sends you down the suicidal fork of the road instead of down to the I, not the I identity thing, not just sort of, how can I put it, the sort of cosmic I instead of the individual I. That there's it's Goering in a way and those people are tricked by, they're just tricked by thought which is in language, and the fact that the I in language is just this kind of useless artifact. Because we use the word I, we think there's somebody there. But it's not there. It's terribly compelling. It's the habit of a lifetime. Sorry, I don't know if that makes any sense.
It's very, very good point. So it's all about language, because the alien cortex is our language module. Here on our left side, we have Wernicke's area and Broca's area for generating and interpreting speech. It is a dialogue inside our heads. The alien cortex is talking to us. So that's the snare, because if you look in the Bible, and who wrote the Bible? Fun fact, the alien cortex. And it's saying the logos, the word. And basically saying, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's John 1. And that's basically, it's the alien cortex telling you straight out. It's given the whole game away. It's saying, it's all up here in your left hemisphere. That's God. And basically, so we're out to kill God. We're out to kill I. And so it's a game of what the fuck is I? Because basically, once you've seen the bull, then you say, well, this is going to die. My life's work now is to kill this thing and slaughter the bull. Then it's a question of, okay, well, now we're into language, and what is I? If you're going to kill somebody here, who the fuck is it? And then the game's afoot. But it is a game of language, but you get to be able to speak a kind of proper language. So if you just get Microsoft Word and you start writing in terms of deep spiritual stuff, in other words, if you start writing, the Cloud of Unknowing or some deep esoteric work, as if you're the author, if you try and start writing the Bible and start writing some really deep stuff, or rewriting the Bible, you'll find that the Microsoft grammar checker will even start telling you that you're making no syntactic sense, even though you are. If you start using I and self and in the wrong way, it tells you that that's not grammatically correct, but it is. What it is it's grammatically threatening to your alien cortex. And so it's even come out in the programmers that did, and the linguists and, people that do proper received English and grammar, and that basically that even at that level, they can smell you making an assault on the alien cortex. And it will even to the point, and the grammar checker will tell you, no, this is not legit. It's kind of saying, like, don't you dare fucking stalk me. But I doubt anybody understood what I just said. But I just put it out there because if it ever happens to you, you'll start to find that you get to a point which psychiatrists and that would say it's clanging, and you start seeing puns in words and stuff, and amusing stuff that nobody else can see and stuff. But it's kind of a breakdown of language. But by the same token, actually, you can get all the way in language if you start studying language deep enough, to a deep enough extent. It can also be the way out of the forest. Because hidden in the language is the preservation of the alien cortex. So I spent years studying Sanskrit in this kind of way. Is you take a great writing, you break it down, and you basically it's hilarious. You get such deep fucking insights just using the Dhatapata and getting through to the root word in Sanskrit. It's fucking hilarious all the way down. It's I think I'm talking gibberish now. I don't doubt anybody else, but I just did it now.
No, it's good.
Just recently here in the thing where I did the thing which I posted where I said my last post, and I said the thing about Ken Wilber saying dust to deity, a very spiritual progressive idea. It's basically liberal progressivism applied to spirituality. So I put in a little joke there. And I said, yeah, possibly, by, using industrial society. But I made a little joke and I pulled out dust from it. And then I suddenly realized it's dust trial. And that's really what we're doing with industry. It's basically the progressive narrative is through our trial and hard work, we will get from dust to deity through trial. So it's hidden kind of thing inside the word. Now, if you take that route, a psychiatrist will say, oh, this guy's going psychotic. But also, again, they're defending themselves. The alien cortex is defending themselves, saying, it can see that those insights are not good for its narrative. And it can see itself being destroyed. The reason why a psychiatrist would say that that's going psychotic, because they can see the patient dissolving their ego, dissolving themselves. Now, according to the psychiatric profession, that's absolutely what the psychiatric profession is there to stop you doing. It's to reconstruct your ego And recover means, from a psychotic episode or something, means recreate your sense of self according to our cultural conventions, which is the little ego. So what they should be doing if they were real shamans is encouraging you down that path and saying, like, yeah, that's it, more of that. But they don't. They try and medicate you. They do everything. And what they're really doing is stopping you making an assault on the alien cortex.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to go off that point, because I've studied, even studying other languages, I studied Japanese, I know the Philippine language and English, and they have different forms or versions of the alien cortex. And you can see how each culture developed itself. How I'd say Japan is more of a, their groupthink, and you can see that in their language. US or English, more of like individualistic. So I can see that. And then when I am on Microsoft Word, I've noticed now lately that I tend to make mistakes, and I always ask, oh, is it really a mistake that I just typed it in this certain way? And before I didn't realize it until lately, more recent.
So yeah, psychologists have only discovered recently the power of language to determine culture and to determine our way of thinking. It's not an adjunct to our culture and the way we act. It's embedded in it. And so, to give an example, like from Japan, the language in Japan determines stuff like whether you can get kamikaze pilots, because even for how kids are brought up in school and how it's how the use of language decides where the ego boundary is. So in a very homogeneous society like Japan, with a strong emphasis on collectivism and group responsibility, then you don't have that sense of self, or the sense of self is so bounded to the collective that you can sacrifice yourself as a kamikaze pilot quite easily for the greater good. Now, I don't want to get too tribal about it. Americans can do it too. What people forget about after Pearl Harbor, the very first raids were the Mitchell, I think it was Mitchell and 9 bomber crews, and they did a suicide mission against Japan. And people forget that, or gloss over it, or pretend it wasn't a suicide mission. But they did a revenge attack against Tokyo that's not very well remembered, but it was really a suicide mission. So people are capable of it outside that context. Not saying you wouldn't have kamikaze pilots unless you had the language that encouraged it. You can go too far with it, but it's just to say that how we think and act is determined a lot in grammar. So it's very important in that if you think of the Piraha grammar and how San people speak, language is important, and it's got nothing to do with using the right gender pronouns and stuff like that. Although people do have a sense of how important language is. That's why we put so much emphasis in using the right gender pronouns and stuff. But it's deeper than that. It goes down to the grammar, and somewhere embedded is our sense of self. And the sense of self we get comes from Aryans. So basically, we're speaking Proto-Indo-European, and they had a very, very particular view of self. And it's an individualist self, and it's paternalistic, and it's very martial. So we've carried over that thinking in the language from the Aryans and Proto-Indo-European.
That's why it kind of, we come back to what you said earlier about, you were saying, okay, somebody can go, if you want, 2 years in an ashram in the Himalaya or into a Zen monastery in Japan and reach enlightenment through training and discipline and various other exercises, and meditation. But the language, what do you make of the language there?
They break down the language. You see,
Okay.
you see what? Yeah, you see what the koans and things that they get people to meditate on is if you look at language too hard, it breaks up. So it disintegrates, and so that's it's the use of a mirror in a way. So you if you start studying language too hard, like anything, if you go too much in depth, it'll disintegrate before your eyes. But you have to do it with questioning, radical questioning, you know. And how many people study language with that intensity? But you can do anything. If you studied Christianity with radical questioning, you could, you know, somewhere along the line, Christianity would fall apart, and conventional Christianity, and you'd keep on going. So you can get to that point of breakdown and release in any tradition. That's what they did in monastic tradition. The Cloud of Unknowing is a guy that's definitely been through this, and that was in the Western monastic tradition. Well, is that exhausted the evening? Probably has, I guess.
It sounds like it. So next, what do we want to continue with next week?
My alien Cortex is hurting.
Yeah, well, it should. It should. I put it under assault. I put it under assault. So it's basically now you understand why they say putting the robe in the dye and taking it out again. You carry on doing that until your noodle is cooked. Actually, I would like to hear anybody who watches these videos right to the end. If it is doing anything for them in that way, if it is cooking their noodle. I would like to hear yes. I'd like to hear, I can't fucking listening to this shit. That would be a good answer.
It's kind of what I was trying to get to with some of the questions was, you know, can we be doing that? Can that be what's occurring here? You know, instead of just talking about
the questions you ask. The questions you ask, Gary, are very useful. See, because people don't even know what questions to ask, and you're asking them. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's you know, I'm trying to push it a little bit, but you know, because you know we've gone through that sequence of these 12 commandments of the Desiderata or whatever, and it's very interesting and they're fascinating conversations and all the rest of it. But it still comes down to the fact that at the end of the day, is it going to shift you a bit or a lot, hopefully? And so, I mean, I don't know what the next step is. I mean, if from where you're looking at it, you know, should these discussions continue along the line of whatever it takes to assail the alien cortex, I guess, or to erode it, or to, you know, exhaust the ego? Should we just keep going like that, or you know, I don't know, just go back to topical related
I would love
things?
to hear from other people. I would love to hear from other people if they're getting anything out of these conversations, or whether they would like to take them down a new line. I think there are some people that just want to do activism and stuff and want to have thoughts about how to do activism and don't want any spiritual stuff or anything. So it's,
are you getting is that being catered to by what's happening over on Discord? Because I haven't been following that. Is that got a bit of a life over there?
No, it's quite quiet there.
Oh, okay.
What about the initial ARG? Because we started this with that, and I love those conversations that could go on forever. I think even if we had 2 a week, it would be even better for personally. But the ARG, how does that tie into it? How can you use these exchanges, conversation, and the building of this Desiderata Extinctionati?
all of this was supposed to be for the ARG, so
Yeah,
that's what
I know.
that's what
I
we
know.
should be.
I know.
We should be. But I don't mind. So I don't mind. There's some. I realized with COVID that it might be the right time to revive the ARG. It seems like these conversations are kind of just as good. You know what I mean? I think if anybody's listening or getting something out of them, then they should tell us, because otherwise we should just go and do the ARG and do activism and stuff like that. But I kind of got a feeling that this might be what people want to hear, because things are coming so thick and fast, in the news and the world news and stuff like that, that it's hard for the ARG to make any headway. It's kind of like a full-on assault. Do you get that impression from the news? It just comes at a blast at you, and you're like, you can't add to this. you can barely breathe for it.
There's the confusion between the game and reality is actually there.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what
it's
I mean.
become
It's
so.
kind of like the game is like training wheels, but it's kind of like, well, fuck the training wheels. You riding up and riding, dudes. It's we're in the
Yes, it has
battle now.
become
So,
so.
sorry, there wasn't any more time for training. It's this battle started.
It has
Well,
become so
it's
bizarre that
yeah, so bizarre.
the
Yeah.
ARG, the ARG is probably, um, like you said, it's so bizarre now with things happening even all around us that we don't need a pretend jarring world, because we're being jarred into. It's almost like living The Onion. The Onion is a satirical, humorous paper here, and at first it seemed like we were living in an onion world. Everything, you wake up to the news every day, kidnapping plots, all kinds of things. So it's like we're living in the ARG now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I feel. I kind of feel a kind of a lot of weight off my shoulders, because I kind of feel like it's doing a job for me. The point of the ARG is to get people used to the absurd and get people to, getting used to the surreal. But it's like, this is getting to be a real easy job now. Now it's almost like maybe the opposite. Maybe just giving people some relief. It's getting to be a bit too much, But these things come in waves. It won't be it won't be at this intensity all the way down to human extinction. The pendulum goes back and forth, and so it comes in waves. So we'll get some relief, and it's like a dance, back and forth, back and forth. So there's always plenty of time to come back to the ARG and change the pace.
I also want to say one thing. Last week I used the word sudden when I was thinking about collapse, but I was thinking more that it's inevitable, and like we've always discussed, the preparations we can make probably would be more useful if they were what we're doing now, the mental kind, the psychological kind, the spiritual kind, because it's inevitable, whether it comes fast, slow, or like the Titanic. There will be no point in having bunkers or hoarding food or having ammunition. It will come, and we have to prepare ourselves mentally to be agile and, to use a cliche, resilient.
Yeah, I mean, how much of the ARG do you actually need in hospice? I think at some stage things will ease off a bit, and then we can resume the ARG as entertainment. But in my mind, I'm assuming that people, at least one or two people, are getting something out of these conversations, and that's the usefulness of them. Yeah.
I'm actually getting a lot of, I mean, they're not speaking out vocally, but a few comments from YouTube, a few comments on the page itself when I post. and there's a lot of discussion. I don't know if you've seen, but like whenever I post something, there's always somebody commenting. So I'm sure there's a lot of views, and they find it useful.
I think that it's good that it's a slow digestion, reaction, discussions, conversations about what we do. Because as you were saying, I'm very worried about reactions. About nowadays it's just something. Oh, I like it, and then it's. I think it's good because these conversations are thorough, are slow, are really elaborating on points for a long period of time. So I would think that we should continue. I mean, we can either go on to other topics or elaborate on the different points of the conversation, and maybe we could suggest in on Reddit what we could look at next time, and maybe come back on points that we left, and we don't remember very well, or that we didn't that were not clear, because I think it has slow and easy is good.
Yeah, I hope people pitch in with stuff that they want, and ask questions or ask us to take a certain direction or something like that, and tell us what's useful and what we should cut. But yeah,
why don't
they're quite a few people actually looking at them. They're not. It's not like a dozen. They're quite a lot. I do little tests every now and again. I'll put up some bogus shit on XRMed to point to a video that's that like has very few views or something, a very old video or something. And then I track the views, and they're like in 24 hours on one, I got 1,000 views. So I think there are a lot of lurkers. People are lurking. So I think I'd be surprised.
Hugh, it's a fairly. I mean, it's a sophisticated is not the right word. I mean, what you're putting forward in a lot of cases is completely new to a lot of people, and it's very, they might well be listening and not commenting because they don't know what to say. It's beyond the a little bit past their depth in a way, but. And also too, I think a lot of the spiritual stuff, you just don't want to respond to it in terms of words. I've found that, I'm not saying here, but in other places where I've looked at YouTube videos of people giving talks on that kind of thing, and I look underneath and there's a lot of comments, and I think to myself, I don't think I want to say anything. That's not. It's just for digesting and working within yourself. I don't know that it's appropriate or even possible. So the fact that we don't necessarily get a lot of feedback on this at times or whatever doesn't mean that it isn't soaking into people somewhere. It's just that.
So in the cult I was in, they had kind of some very way out esoteric beliefs, and but one of them, I don't know if it has merit or not, but they kind of believed that you can, basically sanity, it's not only insanity that breaks out, sanity can also break out. And, just like insanity breaks out and spreads from like one kind of Joker character, you can get another kind of equally Joker character where sanity breaks out and spreads. So they kind of took the view that you could freaking read Shakespeare to the wall and you could change the country. And it's nuanced. It's not really the vibration can change stuff. That's going too far. But there is a butterfly effect, certainly. And so I think, we should think of that, of just, again, doing right action and not think of the outcome. And just think, basically, who the hell cares if no one hears, if one person hears? It's all good.
I think that's going to be the simplest thing for us to do, because we're just going to get divided up and not know which way to go. It's just to do it and just to do it.
And later, you never know the result later. I've done a lot of things in my life that I didn't think were meaningful at all. And then later people came back and they said, you know, that transformed my life. And it
So
like
let's do it.
10, 15 years later, you know.
Let's do it and keep doing it, doing the right thing, and something that we like, and you know, right, that feels right.
Hey, I mean, all of us enjoy doing this on the Sunday, don't we?
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah. Big time.
I tell you, the weather's getting bad, man. The weather's getting really extreme, and I'm spending a lot of my time running from the weather. So it's like places like this, I have to look at the weather so I can be here for this Sunday and have cell phone contact, and then like tomorrow I have to really skedaddle because there's like 50 knots of wind coming. I'm gonna have to sail for shot in a place where I don't have any cell phone connections. But anyway, it's I like doing it, so it's not a chore for me.
But here, I mean, you must be working like a full-time job. You know, when I look at your output.
Well, I'm really, my primary thing is working on the videos, the Darwin videos. So, but you know, while you're on the computer, all this, you get notifications and stuff, so you can easily break away. Yeah, often something just comes up, and I think, bugger it, I'll just post it quickly, write something and post it. And then carry on.
I suppose. I mean, I just going through the stuff, and I look at that sort of mental capacity you've got, and then even with Sophie, you know, obviously the amount of stuff that that you two are reading and going through and paying attention. I'm thinking, my God, I'd be sunk if I couldn't handle that much in a day. You know, you know, I'm just in awe of what you kind of accomplish, or the both of you actually.
Well, the season for me is quiet with the garden, so I can be inside. And plus, at night, in the middle of the night, I wake up. I have a little thing with my sleep at the moment, so it gives me time to watch things or read things that I want to do in the day. So I kind of do that at night, and then in the morning, I usually check Reddit morning and evening, and then I can share. So yeah, it's more time. It won't be like that all the time. There's going to be work to do outdoors soon, but yeah.
Do you want to know my secret? Right, I'll tell you straight out. If you want to outrun everybody, basically at your work or anything, it's a hard place to get to. But if you want to basically look superhuman to everybody, you just live by Kairos. So what everybody's fucking up is they're living by Kronos. If you don't try and do anything and you just do what's presented, you see, everybody's trying to do some other shit. It's like, I must do this, I must do that, and trying to keep a schedule, and I must be organized and stuff. You say, like, no, you must just be like Chauncey Gardner. You see, just basically, you know, there's nothing you have to do. It's basically, this comes up, well, full attention on that. And then people's like, how do you put so much into this? It's because I wasn't doing anything. It just fucking came up. I gave my attention to it. And then so, but you see, people struggle, like, it takes a while to get there because the world won't let you depart and live according to Kairos. But a lot of it you can do. I mean, I try and people that come on my boat and stuff like that, then and they have their own boats and they sail with me, then they amazed that like I won't fix something or something which drives them crazy or something, and then they go like, but you have to fix that, and I say, why? Basically, it'll be the right time to fix it or do something. But everybody's running around like, this is broke, I must fix it, I must do this thing. And I work with the boat. Yeah, the boat tells me what needs to be done next. And then say, like, a lot of the shit just fixes itself. A lot of the stuff that people get into these things where they run out and get parts and they start this project and then it doesn't work and then it fucks up and then they bring in experts and they go round and round. Their whole life is, and I say, no, man, the boat, I say, I'm the skipper of this boat. This boat's not the skipper of me. We work together. The boat tells me what to do. And that's another way of saying you live by Kairos.
But I work the same way as you. And
yeah,
if I hear somebody saying that book is good, okay, I'll go and have a look in the library if it's there.
Yeah.
And I read it. And
Yeah.
even, you know, and okay, then I'll have to go out in the garden to dig some potatoes or something or do a bit, but it depends on the rain or whatever. But it will be more on the weather that I will just, yeah, time my day a bit more. But I hardly ever look at the clock, and yeah, as you say,
And people say, well, how do you keep up with the news and stuff? And I say, I don't.
no,
The news keeps up with me. If there's something that I need to know, somebody sends
Yeah.
me a link or something, and they say, "Hey, look at this," or somebody tells me. And people, even the weather, which is kind of dangerous. People will call me and say, "Did you see what's coming in?" And they're like, "Nope." Oh shit. Okay. But you just trust that you know
but
you'll
you
get.
trust your body too, because when you live on the sea, you're close to the sea, and you used to look up at the clouds and the winds and the rain and all that. You know when things are changing. You can feel it. You don't even have to. You don't even think about it. You just get to feel it. You get to just feel how you are. Oh, I'm feeling like, oh, it's going to rain because I want to go to sleep, or kind of thing like that. You know.
Yeah, and even when you're asleep, even it's all there's a hell of a lot going on
Yeah.
outside your conscious brain and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just one sound or something like that, I know, oh, that's a fish biting on the boat. Oh, that's a cat walking on the deck. Oh shit, the anchor's dragging. We're in a freaking storm, and all of that you in a second, you know, before I've even figured it out. I'm often handling a problem or something. But anyway, the major thing is just to say, live by Kairos. Kairos, Kairos, Kairos. Okay, well, that does it.
Thanks to all
That's a,
again for all the
yeah.
deep discussion and the steadiness, you know, the commitment that we have, and to Mike for recording and everything.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mike.
Yes, Mike, you're great.
Yeah, no problem. This has been great for me too, just to review. It's very, it's a lot of content and a lot of
I'm
information
very,
to
very
digest.
grateful. I'm very, very grateful, really.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
Thanks so much.
no problem.
Thank you, everybody.
Everyone.
It's, a,
And your
it's
question,
such
yeah,
a nice group. It's such a nice little group.
yeah. Mhm. Okay, so
All
we're
right.
gonna have to say goodbye.
Well,
All
okay.
right.
Till next week.
Have a nice Cairo.